You're watching News 24 Live and I'm Jerusha Sukthio-Rath. Now, May 1st, we'll see an application for the revision of broad-based black economic empowerment legislation in South Africa. And I'm joined on the line by Nhlanhla Sigasa. He's an expert in the field and he's going to speak to us a little bit more about the intricacies around the process. Mr. Sigasa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Jerusha. I'm hoping I could add value to your program.
Now, let's start off with these proposed revisions. What can we expect to see?
I guess it's sort of threefold. One is being the thresholds being increased. For example, what's quite key is with regards to the old codes, your EME's threshold was from zero to 5 million rand in terms of their turnover. Currently, this threshold has increased to 10 million rand, so you'd basically see more and more people falling under that EME threshold. The other one would be your QSE's companies, where previously their turnover threshold was between 5 and 35 million. That has been increased to 50 million rand. So obviously, then a lot more companies would fall within that bucket itself. The second one is in the previous old codes there were 7 elements that one used to be rated on, and what the government has done now is to consolidate all the elements and to basically come up with 5 key critical elements. So that's one that's another biggest change there. The third one is that out of the 5 current elements, there's actually 3 priority elements that companies needs to make sure that they at least get 40% of either the minimum value that's there or either the minimum points. If they don't get that minimum 40%, they would automatically, their BE level would automatically drop by one level down.
Now, a truly transformed company is a buzz phrase that we hear in business. And of course, it is really the goal of South African businesses to be truly transformed. But on a really basic grassroots level, what does a truly transformed business look like?
With the current and also the old codes, a truly transformed company is a company whereby basically they try and balance their strategy of the business with the requirements of BEE. And whenever one is looking at in terms of where to procure for goods and services, in terms of growing their own internal business, one should look at to say, what value can I add within the society? What value can I add within some of the companies that are black owned that I could actually procure from? Secondly, in terms of your employment equity and skills development, to say, yes, ideally I would like to have a representative of a certain caliber of employees within my company, but obviously one would have to look at the demographics, one would have to look at the race and gender, so one would have to consider that to say, from the community which I basically supply my services, is it possible for me to have a right representative, within the race factor and within the gender factor to actually provide such goods and services. With regards to skills development and bursaries, one should also look at in terms of how can I actually try and probably maybe look at some talent within the communities of which I either procure goods or which I either service or sell goods, in terms of trying to see what black talent can I find in order to give them a chance, either through learnerships or through bursaries to go and study.
Now, you've touched on the issues of graduate programs and giving young South Africans the opportunities to get a foot into business. And we certainly know at the moment that South Africa is dealing with really high youth unemployment. Many people believe that these new codes will help address that. In your opinion, do you see these new BEE codes really effectively dealing with youth unemployment in South Africa?
Yes, there's new requirements that are being noted in terms of companies to prove in terms of what new unemployed youth they have actually employed during any given 12-month period. either through a formal learnership or through actually employment. And if it's through learnership, once the learnership program has completed, one also needs to prove in terms of has that learner managed to find employment either within the company, or have they find employment within another company within the same sector, basically. So it's not just for the sake of giving learnerships out there, and then at the end of the learnership, people are still sitting at home with the certificates. Basically, it's meaningful training, at the end of the day, so that the person is able to get proper employment post the learnership.
Speak to us about the application process. What can we expect going forward? We know that on the 1st of May, an application will be lodged, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the legislation will be amended. So what will the process be?
It's quite a tricky one. I mean, with the revised amended codes, they were supposed to be effective 18 months ago, but there's always been that postponement and so forth, because first of all, only the phase 2 of the revised codes only came into effect a couple of months back, So and also when one reads the codes, there's a bit of judgment calls there's a bit of inconsistencies in certain things. There's a lot of clarification that we as verifications agencies, as auditors, that are still seeking clarity from the department itself. But I think everybody's gearing up for the 1st of May deadline. I do not foresee the deadline being moved. But what's quite interesting is that the sector codes, they were given the deadline up to May to basically try and align their old sector codes with the revised codes, and unfortunately, where I'm currently sitting, I haven't seen any of the sector codes being gazetted in terms of the revised codes. So the question is, what will happen 1st of May relating to the sector codes? Are they going to fall away, or would people still be measured on the old sector codes while other people are measured on the amended codes themselves? So it's quite a tricky situation that we find ourselves in, but we're hoping that within the next couple of weeks there could be some clarification or some guidance that we as auditors can apply consistently throughout the country itself. But now what we're currently seeing is that most companies are trying to get their they're trying to get their new B certificates being issued before the May deadline, so that they can at least have another 12 months to basically try and digest the amended code, so that when they renew their certificates next year, this time, they would at least had a year, in terms of trying to digest what the revised codes are. The companies of which their certificates probably they're ending post-May, they might find themselves in trouble, whereby they would have to be measured in terms of the revised codes. However, their current measurement period or their current processes are still aligned to the old codes. So they might find themselves in a very tricky situation. And from the desktop exercise that we have done, we've seen that companies may drop 3 to 4 levels down.
Sure. Well, Mr. Sigaso, we hope that we can catch up with you after the 1st of May for an update. And I'm certain that from now till the 1st of May, you're going to be a very busy man. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you very much, Marisha, and enjoy your day.